Hello everyone and welcome back to Obas Trending Gist. Today we are diving into some explosive revelations that have set shockwaves across Nigerian political landscape. On the mic on podcast with Seun Okinbaloye, prominent activist and journalist Omoyele Sowore dropped some truly astonishing claims concerning former President Olusegun Obasanjo and his family. Sowore, known for his fearless journalism and the outspoken criticism of power, has revealed a deeply personal and controversial account from none other than Obasanjo's own son, Gbenga. This isn't just about politics. It touches on family, legacy, and the allegation that could tarnish reputations. Stay tuned as we unpack these incredible claims that suggest a disturbing family secret and major political maneuvering. Sit back and take a watch.
So that was how NSAS started.
Although one of the protests you talked about, Obasanjo has come out to say nobody has evidence to say that he wanted a third term.
If the devil had a deputy, it would be Obasanjo.
That's defamation.
It's not.
How would you say that of a former president? One of the most respectable African in the world.
It's respected by some people, but this is not disrespect. I'm just being truthful.
You're speaking ill of the man who had gotten the grace to run this country 3 different times.
Well, he's gotten the grace to run this country 3 different times. He's also used it 3 different times to run the country down. So how can someone be more devilish than that?
Because you wanted to be president. So would you have been devilish if you had been president?
Never.
So why would you refer to him?
Because his records show that nothing could have been done by the devil that he didn't do. Burning out OD Village, Zaki Biam, manipulating elections. It was during Obasanjo that an election was held in this country where there were no serial numbers in the ballot papers. And he said Yar'Adua won the election. Even Yar'Adua himself had to repudiate that election. That's Obasanjo for you. He was the one who masterminded the third term, even though he kept denying it. But that was what made me refer to him as the deputy to the devil.
Because, that you're talking about the father of the Nigerian Fourth Republic.
Well,
the man who literally framed...
He's the father of many things and many people. But, I have also met his children, his biological children. And what I heard from them is it will make you shudder. For instance, I met his son, Gbenga Obasanjo, years ago. We rode in his car from Benin Republic to Nigeria. It was those days I used to sneak into Nigeria. And the customs, I think immigration were trying to detain me. He came not knowing who I was. And they started shouting, like, who are these people fighting with immigration? So I went there. I didn't know who he was. I went on there, saw that he wrote his name with a pen on their exercise book for entry into the country. He was coming from Benin Republic. And I said, this is Gbenga. So I walked to him. I said, why are you being rude to us? He looked at me and said, who are you? I said, I'm Sowore. That time we were doing Orlando reports. So he flared up. He's like, oh, you people have been writing rubbish about myself. And then he turned around and said, but I like one thing you did. And I said, what is it? He said, the house that you found in Brooklyn, you were able to prove to the world I was not the owner, belonged to my brother, and that saved me. So we left. And when he was driving, you know how security people on their own assume that the moment you have an issue, a thief with their Oga, they drove past us, It was a death road between Nigeria and he just drove fast and they had dust covering us. And then he suddenly stopped. And he beckoned on me. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Nigeria. He said, where in Nigeria? I said, well, because we're already in Nigeria. I said, I'm going to Lagos. He said, yeah, I can give you a ride. He gave me a ride. And we spoke for the entire period. It was about 3 hours. He told me many things, including the fact that he wasn't sure if his children were his. And I asked, what do you mean? He said, I think my father has been sleeping with my wife.
That's Gbenga Obasanjo?
Yes.
Alleging that his father
was sleeping with his wife. And
that's atrocious.
So, but I didn't want to believe him.
Yeah, but it can be confirmed, though.
He took his father to court. You can search on the internet. He sued his father.
That's what he told you.
Yes, no, he sent me the document, the court document, and that the court should determine the paternity of his children. I was shocked because I thought he was being flimsy. It was the time he confirmed to me that his father was behind the third term thing, that his father is very deceitful, told me, about El-Rufai, Jimmy. In fact, after the interview was published by the news magazine, interestingly, edited by Bayo Nanuga. So they had appointed me as their special correspondent at that time. So
you worked closely with Bayo Nanuga,
of course,
and Babafemi
Ojudu,
yeah,
and Baba
of the news at the time.
Babajide Otitoju. Those three guys were, there was another Tayo, I forgot his name now, and what's this man's name? Kunle Ajibade. So they were my handlers. While coming to Nigeria, they put me up in hotels and while I do my work. So I would do investigations for them. I would do interviews for them. But that was the biggest interview at that time. So Gbenga then denied that the conversation we had cannot be regarded as an interview. So Femi Falana, who was lawyer to the news and myself, wrote to his lawyers and said, this is the encyclopedia definition of interview. And that was the end of the case. They never sued. El-Rufai sued, but the case never came up because then Yaradua came, drove all of them into exile. Yes, this El-Rufai drove also Nuhu Ribadu into exile. They're all in the US with us. So I was like their handler in the US. They would talk every day, sometimes frequently, trying to figure out what's going on with Yara.
All right, that was an intense segment. Omoyele Sowore certainly didn't hold back in his conversation with Seun Okinbaloye. So let us break down the key points and then I'll share my critical take on these revelations. Sowore painted a very strong picture of former President Obasanjo, going as far as to refer to him as the deputy to the devil. He attributed this strong statement to Obasanjo's alleged action while in power, citing instances like the burning out of Odi Village and Zakibia, which are highly contentious events in Nigerian history. He also accused Obasanjo of manipulating elections, specifically mentioning the 2007 elections, which even the eventual winner, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, reportedly repudiated. Sowore claims these actions demonstrate a pattern of running the countries down. But the most staggering revelation came from Sowore's recounting of an encounter with Gbenga Obasanjo, the former president's son. Sowore detailed a long conversation with Gbenga, during which Gbenga allegedly expressed profound doubt about the paternity of some of his children. According to Sowore, Gbenga suspected that his own father, Olusegun Obasanjo, might have been sleeping with his wife. Sowore further claimed that Gbenga took his father to court to determine the paternity of his children and even sent him court documents to prove it. This is an incredibly serious allegation that suggests a deep rift and a shocking betrayal within the Obasanjo family. Sowore also touched upon the controversial third-term agenda and stated that Gbenga confirmed his father's involvement, describing Obasanjo as very deceitful. He mentioned his own role as a special correspondent for the news magazine, working with individuals like Bayo Onanuga and Kunle Ajibade, investigating and publishing reports on figures like Obasanjo and El-Rufai. He concluded by noting that many of these figures, including El-Rufai, were driven into exile by Yar'Adua and found themselves in the US, with Sowore acting as their handler. Now, for my critical take on these extraordinary claims. Firstly, the allegation from Gbenga Obasanjo as relayed by Omoyele Sowore are incredibly serious and, if true, speaks to a level of family betrayal that is almost unimaginable. The notion of a son suing his father for paternity and alleging an affair with his wife is a deeply personal and damaging accusation. However, it's crucial to remember that these are second-hand accounts from Sowore, who states he was told this by Gbenga, while Sowore claims he saw court documents. We as viewers do not have independent confirmation of these claims. Such sensitive matters are often prone to sensationalism and require concrete, verifiable evidence. From a political standpoint, Sowore's characterization of Obasanjo as a deputy of the devil and his accusations regarding the manipulation of elections and the handling of incidents like Odi and the Zakibiam reinforce a long-standing narrative of Obasanjo as a controversial and often ruthless leader. Sowore's activism has consistently put him at odds with the Nigerian political establishment, including Obasanjo. This history provides context for his strong criticism, but also reminds us to consider the potential for bias in his presentation. The reference to the third term agenda, a period of intense political maneuvering, is a well-documented controversial chapter in Nigeria's democratic history. And Gbenga's allegation confirmation of his father's deceitfulness aligned with public suspicion at the time. Sowore's role as an investigative journalist, working with prominent media figures like Bayo Onanuga, add a layer of credibility to his report on political corruption and abuse of power. However, the personal and the unconfirmed allegation about Obasanjo's private life remains a contentious point, while Sowore's account of his interaction with Gbenga and even El Rufai and Ribadu in exile paints a picture of a close-knit network of dissidents. The core paternity claim needs direct substantiation from Gbenga himself or verifiable court records to move beyond hearsay. Ultimately, these revelations highlight the complex and often murky intersection of personal lives and public service in Nigeria's political history. They serve as a powerful reminder of the deep-seated grievances and the accusation that continues to shape the country's political discourse. That's all the time we have for now on Oba's Trending Gist. What are your thoughts on Omoyele Sowore's revelation? Do you find these claims believable, or do you think they are politically motivated? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist for more captivating content. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next update. Stay blessed.